about, Thomas Matulessy, Pattimura, is considered to be a national hero. He led this resistance against the returning Dutch colonial authorities in the beginning of the 19th century. But if we look at this, this statue, and if we compare the statue to an earlier statue and to the image that is there or was there until recently on Indonesian currency, as well as on Indonesian stamps, there's something confusing because these different images look different. And of course, this is because the whole event took place in a time where there was no photography. And the only drawings we know that were made of Thomas Matulessy were drawn by a Dutch naval officer, Maurits Verheul, who actually participated in quelling the resistance. And even though he was a good painter of landscapes, his humans were so-so. So we know that even though he was an eyewitness, he actually saw Thomas Matulessy, his depiction of Matulessy was skewed, to say the least. But what we see, and if we delve into the history of how the general picture that is known in Indonesia and then later in a more transnational way also traveled to the Netherlands within the Malaccan diaspora in the Netherlands, it is interesting to see that the image that came up was not based upon any research, but was based upon certain assumptions of how a hero should look like. At the time, many men had long hair, but long hair in the 70s Indonesia was not acceptable as a hairdo for men, as it was associated with criminality, with all the things that a national hero definitely should not have and should not be. And we see that the imagery, the facial features are very much molded to the way that authorities at the time, and there was a session where different authorities came together in the Moluccas to establish what is the way that we want as authorities a Malaccan hero to look like. And this is how the imagery of Thomas Matulessy that many of us know came about. And I think this is a wonderful example of how visibility and images are being manipulated for political purposes. And of course, what is interesting then is then if we look at the Malaccan diaspora in the Netherlands, who at the time was, well, to put it euphemistically, not necessarily on the side of the Indonesian government because of political reasons, they nevertheless accepted this image of Thomas Matulessy because also for them, it spoke to the way that they thought of as heroes. And when confronted with the images of the contemporary of Thomas Matulessy, Maurits Verheul, many people are puzzled because he has long hair. His facial features are very different. And the way that he is described, especially in Dutch contemporary sources, obviously, very much is opposed to this very heroic, martial image that you see when you visit the city of Ambon and you go to the square and look at this painting, look at the statue. What is interesting to know, and this is again another layer that one can add to the understanding of the statue, is that there was criticism in the Moluccas because the artist that was commissioned to do this statue was not someone from the Moluccas. It was an artist from elsewhere, and Malaccan artists, many Moluccans, local people, felt that even in the independent Indonesia, they were not in control of visualizing, of expressing how, according to them, their, be it a national, but it was first and foremost their Malaccan hero should look like. So I think the statue is actually a wonderful site to start studying and to think about these different layers and different meanings that one can attribute to objects, to photographs, to sites, to neighborhoods in all over the world, but definitely in present day Indonesia, and especially in a city like Ambon, in an area like the Moluccas that has experienced all these different layers of colonial encounters, of colonial domination, and also of erasure of local and indigenous culture.